It's always exciting to review something that was made by a YouTuber. Hey everybody, today I am taking a look at the Charmed Life Master Planner. This is a planner that was created by Alexis, aka Miss Trenchcoat. She is a YouTuber here, does productivity videos and planner videos and some other shit, and she's sold printables and stuff for a while. I've bought some of them in the past, and so she came out with this planner that is bound and like printed, and I thought, well, I might as well give it a look. I'm giving a look at a bunch of other planners, and some of you asked me to take a look at it, so that's what we're going to do today. The planner itself is available on Amazon, and it has Prime shipping, so you can get the quick delivery if you want to, which is really cool. It's $25.58 on Amazon as of the recording of this video. I think when I got it a little cheaper because I got it right after launch, and then I just haven't had the chance to do a video on it yet. So, but for right now, $25 and Prime shipping. So that's a good deal considering how much shipping costs for other planners out in the planner sphere. So looking at the information online, this is a 12-month undated planner. This is book bound, and we're going to talk about that in a second because I have some feelings about it. And it's meant, according to her, it's meant to help you work smarter, not harder. Now, looking at the outside, it says the master plan on the front. On the spine, it says the Charmed Life Master Planner. And then on the back, it has the barcode. Now, this cover, okay. This cover is not my favorite. It is this like soft matte touch, but like I have oily skin. I have oily hands. That's maybe too much information, but it's the truth. I tend to have sweaty-ish hands, and from the handling I've done on this, the couple of times I've flipped through it before making this video, I don't know if you can see in the light. I'm kind of trying to like make it show, but it's hard to like get a good on camera, but you can see my fingerprints are all over it. Like all over it. It's not smooth looking, and she said you can wipe it off with a microfiber cloth. So you can see here if you look at the fingerprints that are already on there, and I'll like put my hand on it a couple more times so you can kind of see. And I'm going to wipe it with the microfiber cloth. And to be perfectly honest, I don't notice much of a difference, except that I noticed when I wiped it that a little bit of the black came off, so that it's not quite as even looking anymore. So not a really big fan of this matte cover. Now, the other thing about this cover that I am not a huge fan of is the book binding. It does not lie flat. And like, even with some amount of trying to like train it down, it's still like, look at that. It does not lie flat. Now here in the middle, it's starting to, because it's got the equal weight on both sides. But if you're going to be on either side of the front or the back, it's gonna rebound back on you no matter how hard you press down on it. So even if you break it in, it's still, and I've been working, you can even see if you look on the side, I don't know if you can see very well here, but you can see where I've like kind of broken it a little bit to try and get it to lie flatter, and I was having no luck. So if that is something that bothers you, this is something to steer clear of. The cover itself, the matte on the outside, it's like a cardstock. It's really professional feeling, even though I'm not a big fan of the matte surface. It's like the size of a little book. The dimensions are 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, which is a nice like book size. And for some people I know, this like, it's not A5, or maybe it is A5. It's close to A5. I'm not entirely well versed. If I take my Scribbles That Matter bullet journal right here, and I put the Charmed Life Master Planner on top, the Charmed Life Planner is a little bit shorter. Like, it's hard to see, but it is there. It's a little bit shorter width-wise, a little bit taller height-wise. So close, but not exactly the same. And the book itself has 382 total pages. So opening it up, here is the title page, and then it has copyright stuff in the front. This is actually, if you're looking at this before you get deep into it, it almost feels more like a book than a planner. It's bound like a book. It has the copyright information like a book. It's got the barcode, and maybe that's because it's published through Amazon. It's a little different than what I'm used to with other planners. So then you get into it, and it has her functional planning philosophy in creating your master plan. Now, if you are new to planning and you need some help on how to functionally plan and you really don't have a lot of experience out there, this could be very helpful for you. There's information about identifying your priorities, creating brilliant ideas, establishing routines, building positive habits, functionally planning your day, taking action. As somebody who has done a lot of planning over the years, and I have used a multitude of planners. I have looked at other planners like Inkwell Press or Day Designer that have, or the Passion Planner now, that have instructions on how to use the planners, like how to best use them to be more productive. I feel like the information at the front of this is super basic. So if you have any sort of experience with any kind of productivity work, like where you work through worksheets or you have prompts or you mind map or do any of those things, this information is probably not going to be that helpful for you. Some of the prompts in here are, to me, they feel a little self-evident. Building positive habits, tip 1, swap a bad habit for a good habit. That's pretty self-evident to me. But I'm somebody who lives a lot of my online life and my regular life in the world of productivity and planners. So this to me feels like a 101 course for planning, and I'm already off in like 405. So I just wanted to give you the heads up here. Generally speaking, and I've said as much in other reviews, the stuff at the beginning of a planner that tells you how to plan and how to use the planner is my least useful stuff, because I like to make things my own rather than do things somebody else's way. But if it's something that you're needing to be helpful, then it could be helpful. I've said in the past in various videos where I talk about functional versus decorative planning and how people see functional planning versus decorative planning and blah, blah, blah. I don't see the two as mutually exclusive, and I don't think that there is a one-size-fits-all method to approaching functional planning. So when somebody says they have the method on how to functionally plan, I'm not necessarily here for the one-size-fits-all method. For me, it's a lot of experimentation. So, but then again, I'm also trying to figure out what planner I'm going to use this next academic year. So maybe I don't have any room to talk. But I'm just bringing that up because I feel like I would be disingenuous if I did not bring it up, as it has been a pet peeve of mine on this channel before. Now we get into the monthly layouts, and this is undated. You get 5 rows of weeks, and it's a Monday start. You have a this week column with several, it's just the entire thing of checkboxes, and then some extra notes here on the bottom, and a few extra days on the bottom in case it happens to be one of those 31-day months that starts at the end of the month, so you don't have to do the crossing over thing. I have no idea if this is enough space, but it seems enough. I don't gravitate towards undated planners, usually because I'm lazy. So, but this seems like a decent amount of space, and it is very neutral, so you can put your own stamp on it. For me personally, I tend to write larger, and so this whole size of a planner is not really my ideal size, but even if I was fine writing in these days, I feel like this size of a this week column for writing things in here would be really difficult for me unless I used like a .01 pen and then cramped my hand up. So that to me would not be as useful as these lines down here. And then you have a section that I really like, because this is something a lot of people do in their planners with note pages and things like that, and she just does it for you, which I think is really cool. She gives you a monthly task list, which is similar to a bullet journal if you want to have your task list, and this has plenty of space to write. Again, you have to write small. And then a monthly expenses page with in, out. It says item, amount, due, in, out, and then a checkbox, and then monthly income, monthly expense at the bottom. And I think that it's really rad that there is this for every month. Now we're into the weekly plan, and it is a vertical layout. And the way she's got it is that it is columns with a top 3 at the top of each column, and then some lines, and then some blank on the bottom, and then the weekend is top 3 blank, top 3 blank. I'm a fan of the vertical layout. I think that this layout could work really well for me. It's neutral enough that you could put your own stamp on it, but structured enough that it does give you a little bit of guidance on where to go. I have feelings, and I've said these before on other planner videos, that I don't like it when the weekend is given less space than the rest of the week. That is a personal preference of mine. And somebody did point out on another planner review video that having a Monday start here and a Sunday start during the month is kind of obnoxious, and I am pleased to say that this has a Monday start, and then the monthly layout is also a Monday start. So that's cool. I'm also not a fan of the page number being up so high. I feel like that is kind of taking up, I mean, you could cover it up, but like it feels like it's taking up a little bit of extra real estate for a planner that's already kind of small. The 5 weekly layouts, and then you go to the next month. And you get to page 177, and that is the end of the 12 months. So it's 12 monthly layouts and then 5 weekly layouts for each month. You get to the end of that, you get to this section, which is basically the second half of the planner, and this is important projects. Now, this is an area that I think is really cool about this planner, is that it does give you a ton of planning space. A lot of planners give you the months and the weeks, but they don't give you a lot of notes pages. And then with things like bullet journals, you have a lot of pages, but you might not be able to fit a year into it. And so I do like that there is a lot of extra space in the back of this planner to get more work done. Now, this setup here is one I recognize from some of the worksheets that I have bought from Miss Trenchcoat in the past. This is like project planning overview type situation. You have 6-month projects, so it's long-term here, and then midterm is 1 to 3 month projects, and then short-term is less than 1 month projects. It says 6-month plus projects, but I would think that there would be 2 of these because you may do for a full year. That's more, but it just depends on how big you want to write. But at this, I'm really assuming this planner is made for people with small handwriting. And then you get into the project planning section, and this for me is not very helpful. But this again, this is all. I'm gonna preface this right now that this is my personal opinion, and I can say that with these specific things because I've bought them before. Like, I actually have purchased the sheets that she sells like this in her shop, and I've tried them and they don't work for me. Doesn't mean it won't work for you. It means it doesn't work for me, but I want to be honest because I try to do that on this channel. Project description, due date, resources and tasks, and then project notes. And even though this has some structure, for me, the structure was both too generic and too structured, which is hard to explain. Like, I would actually be happier with just a spread of like a dot grid that I could work on, and like maybe title of the project, like a little spot for title of the project on top or something, or maybe like a to-do list down the side. I like how the Passion Planner has it set up where there's a little bit of a to-do list area, but then most of it is like blank, like dot grid or grid pages, because not every project gets planned out the same way. And so for me, this structure doesn't really suit my style, and it really, for all the space it takes up, I could use this space differently. The nice part about this spread, if it works for you, is that you get 40 of them. That is a shit ton of project planning space. And so for people who feel like planners don't have enough note pages or enough room for them to do their work, that could be really, really helpful. For me, not so much, because this style of project planning doesn't work for me. But if it did work for you, you get a shit ton of it. So that's pretty awesome. And then you get to your next section, which is brilliant ideas. So in this brilliant ideas section, there are brain dump pages, which is just another long checklist for you to blurt a bunch of things out of your mind, which is awesome. And then it gives you a place to take these ideas and organize them. And this is, I'm pretty sure this is called the Eisenhower Matrix or something like that. Like, I know that it's been popularized in a couple of different like self-help books or whatever from back in the day. So that's what this is. I don't know if it needs to have credit or not. I'm not sure. This is recognizable. This is fairly standard when it comes to productivity stuff, but it is nice that it gives you a brain dump and a place to organize right here so that you can do it right away. And you get 20 of those spreads. And then you get another 20 spreads, which are brainstorm organization spreads, where you brainstorm some tasks, you take notes, and then this is your plan and prep, or I guess where you can break up your ideas and prep. I actually probably could make better use of this than I could of the project planning pages, where if you take your idea here and you break it down into tasks, I think that could work a lot better for me visually than the project planning pages. And you get 20 of these spreads. And then in the back, you get note pages, and there are dates on them with lines, and you get another 30 of these. And then in the back, similar to a bullet journal, you have an index where you have your page number and what's on the pages, and you get 8 of these pages. Which, to be perfectly honest with you, like in my bullet journal, but my bullet journal's not for a whole year. I don't even use 2 pages in my index, but that's my personal way of doing things. I know other people who use a shit ton more. You get to the end and it's a copyright page, and it's the end of it. So we're going to do a pen test really quick before I give you my thoughts on this planner. And I have thoughts. I've got my regular testing pens for this. There is a fine liner, which is the Pilot V Razor Point Extra Fine Fine Liner, a Target Gel Roller, and a Tombow brush pen, because these are the 3 kinds of pens I like to use in my planners. And I am going to do a little pen test on the back here. Bear in mind, I have a heavy hand. Well, okay, that That's kind of disappointing. It basically, like, the fine liner bled through in a couple of spots. The gel roller didn't bleed through, but it is shadowed, and the braille is hardcore here. And the Tombow has most definitely shadowed, and there's at least one spot where it feels like it's starting to bleed through. It's not a terrible bleed through, but it's the kind where I feel like if I kept going, it would get really nasty. So I'm going to take a second here. I think I have a ballpoint pen. The ballpoint pen still shadows a little bit, but it doesn't do that like ridged situation the way that the gel roller does. So this, I mean, maybe let's do a pencil. The pencil also leaves the ridges. Again, I'm heavy-handed, doesn't shadow. So I actually think if you're going to use this, your best bet is probably going to be a ballpoint pen or a pencil. And I hate saying that. Oh, I hate saying that. But that's just my thoughts on the subject. It was also very difficult to write on this page because it was not laying flat. And I can see that over time it will break down a little bit, but like this, just like writing right here, like if you can see here on like the Wednesday, like in the very beginning, like this is like the second month, I think. Yeah, the first or second month, writing here, even if you put it up like this, if you're right-handed, is going to be a massive pain in the ass. And if you're left-handed, the other side is going to be painful. So that's something to keep in mind. It's difficult to write with the binding like this, but if you write small or you have small hands or whatever the case may be, this could work for you. The thing I want to bring up as well with the book binding. So here's the thing. I love that there's so much extra space in this for planning. Even if not all of the pages suit my personal needs, I feel like there aren't a lot of planners out there that give you a lot of extra project planning and note-taking space. That is really awesome. The problem I'm going to see with this, though, is if you do want to do any kind of planning with stickers or washi tape, which I know this is supposed to be functional planning, but I've already told you my thoughts on that. If you want to put stuff in this, if you notice when you use like an Erin Condren or some other planner and you start using stickers and shit, it gets fatter. Your shit gets like thicker. Bullet journal's the same way. If you put any kind of layer into your planner, it's going to get thicker. And for this to be already so like fat and full of pages, I can see putting more layers of stickers and things like that in here to be a problem. So if you're not a big sticker person, if you like to use highlighters or colored pencils, probably I'd recommend colored pencils, then you're going to be a better bet, I think, than using lots of stickers in this planner. But that's just my point of view from somebody who does use stickers. As somebody who I consider myself a functional planner. I do use stickers in a functional way because it functions for me. And I don't think my style would work in this for very long before it starts getting lumpy and obnoxious. I mean, it's going to be obvious to you overall that this planner's not for me. This is not my style of planner. This is meant for somebody, I think, whose brain works differently than mine does. The things in this planner that make it unique, all of the project planning pages, the stuff in the front that tells you how to plan, are not things I would make use of. The things I do like, the weekly spreads and the monthly spreads, they're still small and I don't think my handwriting would fit very well in them. And like I said, I don't think this planner would work well for my style of planning. But if you're somebody who likes to be super simple and you need a bunch of project planning stuff and you think that these kinds of pages might work really well for you, then this is a great price and you can get it really quickly. You know, it's not a bad deal if that's something that's going to work for you. But for me, I don't think it's going to work. So this will probably wind up being given away with the other things that I'm giving away next month when I do a big planner giveaway. I want to end this video by adding that this is my opinion. I know that not everybody agrees with me. I feel kind of shitty sometimes talking critically about things that are made by YouTubers and creators online because I know how hard it is to be a YouTuber or a creator and to put out something that you've worked so hard on. It can be scary. And I feel like that's kind of how I felt when I was talking about the Kelly Creates dream pens. They weren't my dream, but they were her dream. And I didn't like them. They weren't for me. But that doesn't mean that she didn't put her heart into them. And it's the same with this planner. So please know that I am not at all trying to talk shit on the YouTuber who made this planner. I'm just giving you my honest opinion of it. And my opinion is that it's not for me. Anyway, if there's other planners you'd like me to check out, leave them in the comments down below. I am going to be looking at Agendio. And because it's such a complicated planner to order, that video is going to take a little while before it happens. But it is going to be happening eventually. Other than that, give me some suggestions in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.